Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, and we're back to the weeks where actually a week is a week. Does that make any sense? Well, it's the 2nd of May, 5th of May. What am I talking about? 5th of May, and we are cracking on this morning. It's going to be a 5-day week. Some people are going to find this a little bit hard. In fact, Leanne is finding it so difficult to get back into the 5-day week that she's decided to go away to some exotic location. Hello, ass. There she
I
is.
promise you, I'm over as much over these public holidays as you are.
Ugh, it's enough, right?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So it's been even more confusing because I'm away on conference and it started on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then today's a normal working day and we'll be working, but also conferencing, but also relaxing. So I'm very confused.
No, that's very
I'm just
confusing. I
confused.
mean, that doesn't sound sensible at all. I see lots of people here in the comments already wide awake and ready to crack on with the day. Jason Stiles says the Sevens box won in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Sevens reporting from LA. Have a good Monday, all. Well, there we go. You see, we've got reporters all over the world. I didn't know that. Well done. I didn't even know that we were playing Sevens in LA, but then that's my fault, right? I don't listen to Ben or to James. If I paid attention to them, I'd probably know that. Morning, has everyone finally decided to come back to work, says Roxanne. Well, we can only hope so, right? Yeah, it's just like, it's crazy. There's a friend of mine, I think I might have discussed this on the show the other day. He decided he is not going to go to work for April because he was owed a whole lot of leave by his company. And you know that runs out. Like if you don't use it up, it's not like you're going to get money for it and you'll eventually lose the holidays that you've been banking for like a year or two, whatever it was in his case, probably more than 2 years. So he just decided, well, the whole of April he's taking off. Clever move because nothing particularly important was done in April anyway. And he got to enjoy an entire month by cashing in his holidays. So I think that's sensible. And if these holidays are as crazy as they are next year, like they were this year, that's what we're going to do too. All right, so let's get cracking. We've got a lot to talk about this morning, and I know Leanne's also got lots of things on her mind, but let's look at this story, which I found deeply disturbing. South Africa's Department of Basic Education, which is very basic, so it's the right term, they've revealed 464 public schools do not offer mathematics at all. No mathematics. No, nothing. That's largely due to resource constraints. Okay, so there are only two kinds of resources you need. Maths teachers and kids who want to study maths. Those are the only, what are we talking about? And do we need an abacus in every classroom? What is this? Ancient Greece? Do we need complicated calculating machines that make a noise like a diesel engine? No, we've got our phones, we've got laptops, and even in the poorest of schools, every fucking non-smartphone has a calculator on it. So what are we missing resource-wise? I don't understand that. Do you?
You know, I'm a language buff, and I think English is probably the most important subject. But in this case, I'm reevaluating my decisions because maths forms you can communicate in another language perhaps, but if you don't have maths and basic knowledge of that, then that's a problem. I
Yeah.
remember someone asked me once they were building a house. They said, "I'm buying bricks for my house. One brick costs R1.
Hmm.
How much is 500 bricks going to cost me?"
Yeah.
If you can't get by with just that amount of knowledge, then there's a big problem. So obviously there aren't any teachers. Obviously there aren't people qualified in maths. What do we do about that?
Well, look. Okay, I think there's a difference between like basic arithmetic, which I think people are forced to learn just by virtue of being alive. Like you need to be able to figure out how many bricks is 500 if each one costs R1. But I think that the most difficult thing here, and I'm trying to remember the stuff that I found useful, because people will complain about calculus and algebra and geometry, and they'll moan about how that stuff doesn't have a practical application in real life. But the reality is that geometry teaches you a lot about logic. as does calculus, as does algebra, as do quadratic equations. They teach you how to figure things out using all the logical power that your brain has. And I don't think that that's ever a bad thing. And I think it's dangerous and probably very, very stupid that there are 464 schools across this country where the kids just don't have a hope in hell. They're going to be screwed. So here's the problem. They've got a shortage of qualified teachers, low enrollment, and resource constraints. Again, I don't know what the resource constraints are. Low enrollment, that's a very big concern because that means that people are saying, well, you don't need to do maths. Parents, kids themselves, if they're allowed to choose, because anything that's hard, you shouldn't do. And then the number of teachers, obviously that's a big problem too. Despite efforts to promote the subject and improve teaching capacity, the number of matric learners taking mathematics has declined sharply. Do you want to know what these statistics are? It's gone from 46% back in 2011 to a meager 34% in 2023.